Hey, hey, how are you guys doing? Happy Monday. Welcome in. Come on and listen. Grab your coffee, grab your tea, whatever it is you drink in the morning or whatever time it is. Come and listen to us. How you doing today, Sarah?
So good. So good.
So good.
Yeah. Great weekend.
Oh yeah. So good. Such a good weekend, and like we talked about last week, right? The summer's coming to an end, so I'm not sad about it though because it's been a hot one.
I know. I love fall. I love fall. I don't wish any of the seasons away, but it was quite sticky this summer.
Oh, absolutely it was, and I love fall too. It's so nice to have the change in seasons and be able to have the fires and the crisp air and new things happening.
Pumpkin spice oatmeal.
Oh, I've never had that.
Oh, it's the best. Put it in the crock pot. You wake up, you got hot breakfast. It's my favorite.
Oh God, I'm gonna have to try that.
Sweaters. I love sweaters and flip flop season. If I can
Yeah.
wear flip flops and a hoodie, that's where I want to be.
Right? I'm wearing a sweater today only because I was chilly, but yeah, totally know what you mean. So today we are going to be talking about something that is maybe you've never heard of it, maybe you have, but it's something that Sarah and I have been learning ourselves. And today we're going to talk about the law of thinking. So if
I
you haven't
love
heard about that, stick around.
I love this law. And you know why I love it? Is because it's not taught in schools. And so many people say, well, you can't teach thinking. It's so untrue. You can teach thinking. There's actually every corporation does a mastermind of thinking of new ways to build up the business, build up the corporation. You're in everything that you do.
Absolutely, right? And it's crazy because when somebody says you can't teach thinking, um you absolutely can, right? Because when you are in the place of thinking about something different, you're actually teaching yourself in that moment. So teaching 100% or not, sorry, teaching, thinking 100% can be taught.
Yeah.
But I'll let
Absolutely.
you finish there, Sarah. You cut out a little bit.
Yeah, my internet's not stable today. So when everything we do, it comes down to a thought, right? It's like, I'm going to say it again. When you're going to work, you're thinking of the route that you're going to. You're thinking of what needs to be done when you get there. Maybe you're a little upset with Linda in the office. So you're thinking of the angry email you're going to send her when you get to work. Right? Then you're thinking of the dry cleaning that needs to be picked up. Then you're thinking of what you're going to have to dinner and if you're going to have the same argument with your kids over and over again, right? So you're constantly thinking of the future, but you're not thinking what it is that you want. You're predicting what's going to happen.
It's so true. And you just hit the nail on the head, Sarah, right? We're always thinking about what's coming, what's next. But because we fall into a pattern of the same thing every single day, we've already predicted what's going to happen, but not in the sense of what it is we want.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. There's a proverb. It's as a man thinketh, those shall he be,
Yeah,
right?
it's
And that's
100%.
it. Like if you think you don't like your job, guess what? You're not going to like your job. It doesn't matter how much you show up every single day. Nothing's going to change if your emotion attached to it is I dislike my job. I don't make enough money. I'm always fighting with my spouse. My kids never listen to me. I can't lose weight. That's you're going to get more of that. And I know it sounds right now, it might sound ludicrous to you, but actually sit down and write out your day, write out your thoughts. Sit and say, why am I having this thought right now? What is provoking me to have this thought? What is the feeling and the emotion and the action that is attached to this thought? Okay, so I don't like my job, so I'm gonna grab a quick donut or I'm gonna grab drive-through, right? Because now you're like, whatever, I don't like my job, and I'm in a miserable mood, so a burger is gonna make me feel better. Then you have that burger, and then you feel guilt, right? So then you go to the kitchen at work, and there's donuts there, and maybe you have a donut or a sweet that they that they put there. But when you feel good, you eat a salad, you work out, you're happy, you're smiling more, you wash your face before you go to bed, you go to bed at a decent hour, you read a book instead of turning on the TV. It all goes together.
Yeah. And it's so true, Sarah. Your emotion is attached to everything. So whatever it is you're thinking, you might not be consciously aware, but every single thought you have, there's an emotion that's attached to it, right? So whether it's a positive or a negative thought, that emotion's going to match that, right? It's going to be a positive or a negative emotion. So if you're thinking about what it is you want, start being aware of the thought that you're thinking, because when you're aware of the thought that you're thinking and you basically just slow down time for a second and think, why am I thinking that if that's really not what I want?
I love that. I love how you said I slow down time, because this is what I heard. So I've been studying this law right now with my accountability partner, and Mary Morrissey, who does this with Bob Proctor, she said that her aunt, and she's like, everybody used to call her the crazy aunt, but she's like, I'll never forget when she said this to me. She says, it doesn't take any longer to think to New York than it does to think across the room.
Yeah.
Like, think about it. You can think of New York. You can think of China. You can think of Vietnam. You can think of Mexico. And you can think across the room. Pretty
crazy, right?
Yeah.
It really is. But it is crazy to think about thought, right? Because honestly, before I got into any mindset work at all or studying any law, not just this one, I was so in routine with doing the same shit every single day that you don't even think, like you literally don't think, you just do.
Yeah.
So when you're moving towards something that you want, like a big one, people plan a vacation. That's probably all you think about, right? But when you're thinking about from day-to-day things, why is it that your thought's the same? Like, you're in control of your thought, you're in control of your thinking. So think what it is that you want, not it is that you're just expecting because it's what you do every single day.
Yeah. So one of the things that they were talking about is your routine. Do you know why successful people are successful? Is because they have an ironclad routine. Okay. And people are like, well, that's not the life that I want to live. I don't want to live on routine. Yes, it is. You just don't want to live on the routine you're currently living on. But when you don't have to go to a job, your routine might be getting up to meditate and do yoga and eat a healthy breakfast and sit and read a book, right? Not get up at 10 minutes before you have to go to work, slap on some makeup, put your hair up and put on some wrinkly clothes and go to work, right? It is the routine. And when you have an ironclad routine where everything is in your book, including spending time with family, including meditation, including eating dinner at the table and reading and doing your business, if you're working on your business, which you should be all the time, because what I heard while listening to this is the worst way to earn money is to go to a job. It's the worst way to earn money. And so if you have a routine, it leaves no room for chatter. It leaves no room for sitting on the couch, watching that TV, scrolling through TikTok, right? It leaves no room for that stuff that isn't serving you. So when you have a routine, routines are, I think, what make the top 1% the top 1%. And Mary, in the lesson that I'm learning, she said that in the morning, when she does her morning routine, before she writes her to-dos, like we always do, she writes a list of to be. Who do I want to be today? And what I love in my new gratitude journal is, what is the tone for the day? I have it here. It says, what's today's focus? So who do I want to be today? What's my affirmation for today? So important.
I love that. And that's so eye-opening, just that. Instead of writing your to-dos, write your to-bes, because your to-dos come from your to-bes, right? Whoever it is you are is what it is you're going to do.
Yep.
I love that so much. And when you were talking about having a schedule, everybody has one,
Yep.
right? And the thing is, we all create it. Nobody else creates their schedule unless you're working for somebody else who tells you
Exactly.
when you're going to be working.
Yep.
But you can create your own schedule, right?
Yep.
You're the creator of your life, like we say almost maybe every podcast. I don't know. But you are the creator. You are in charge of everything. So when you are creating your schedule, and it's funny because I was just doing a lesson about this, is that when you're creating your schedule, create time for you in your schedule.
Yeah.
So put time in your schedule for you. So like you just said, Sarah, when you wake up in the morning and your schedule may be meditate and do yoga, that's your schedule. So put in your schedule what you want to do. Like something that I do that's a non-negotiable for my day is I think about what is important to me. And one of them being I sit at the dinner table with my family every night and I schedule that in.
Yeah.
Right. Because if you don't schedule something in and you don't have a schedule, do you have order?
We are creatures of habit. We are creatures of habit. That's why you go through on autopilot, because you've created this habit. Now, I'm really sick of people telling me that they're comfortable where they're at. Like, I'm so sick of it. You know why? 50% of people are going to run out of money before they run out of time. And if you're broke right now and you're living pay to almost pay, like maybe it gets 4 days before pay and you're stretching the last buck to make sure you have milk and eggs, that is not living comfortably. That is suffering. You're suffering for a carton of milk. Gary Vee said it the best. He's like, if you're not fucking working your 10-hour job and coming home and putting at least 3 hours into your side business, what are you doing with your life? Right? It's people like him. Dan Penna, the fucking $1 trillion man. He said when people were taking vacations, I was picking up their shifts. He's like, I was making $1.05 an hour and I was picking up their shifts. They wanted to have a 4 or 5 day weekend and called in sick without being sick. I picked up their shifts.
Mm-hmm.
What are you willing to sacrifice to live the life you truly want? Because living a life of comfortability is not having consumer debt. I listen to a lot of financial stuff because I want to be wealthy, not just to be wealthy to have stuff. I want to be wealthy to give it away, to help people know that it is possible to live the life that you want. And I was looking at when we die, it's a $30,000 tax that goes onto the estate. Now, either the estate gets taxed or the people who are in your will get taxed. And if you don't have a will, wake the fuck up and go get one. I don't even have kids and I got a will. So I was thinking, okay, they're going to tax me $30,000 when I'm dead. I'm dead and they're still taking my money. What if you don't have that $30,000 when you die? Right? Guess who it goes to? Guess who has to pay that? That's right. Your family, your children, your grandchildren. Being comfortable is not being in debt. Did you know? Listen, we're thinking right now. You buy a house for $500,000, right? 2.85% interest rate. By the end of 30 years, you've paid double. You've paid 50% of that in interest. So that $500,000 house is now $1 million house. You've paid $1 million for that $500,000. But you're okay with that. You are comfortable doing that. You are comfortable maxing out your credit card and paying 3.299% or 32.99%. You're comfortable with that because that's all you were taught. You were taught that thinking. The reason why I worked 7 days a week is because I was taught that way because my dad worked 7 days a week. And it gets passed on.
Mm-hmm. And I like that you brought that up, Sarah, because that right there is proven that you can teach thinking.
Yep.
Right? That's proven that your routine right now and the way that you're living is just the thinking passed on from your family. Right? So if you're thinking the way you're thinking, it's because you were taught that way. So you can start today and pay attention to your thinking and teach yourself a different way of thinking.
Yeah.
You can hire somebody like a mentor or a coach to teach you to think the way that you need to think to be successful and wealthy.
And if you're not hiring people or investing in yourself, you are going to stay exactly the same way. You're doing yourself such a disservice. Wealthy people invest in themselves.
I can attest to that. I know 100% that if I did not invest into myself this past 2 years and continued to, I would not be here. I'd still be working a job feeling like I'm comfortable when I really wasn't, and living paycheck to paycheck, having the extra money to go do whatever the hell I used to do. And that's what I would still be doing. But once you invest into yourself for the first time and you see how impactful that is in your life, it becomes addicting. Like, you're always wanting to invest into yourself.
Yeah.
Like, people think I'm crazy when I tell them how much money I've invested into learning, into teaching, into doing more for me and learning about me. Because let's face it, that's one thing that nobody's taught in life, is about themselves and how to learn about themselves. You don't learn that in school. They don't teach that shit.
You know what I love? I've been having this conversation. They're like, oh, it sounds like a cult. You're living in the cult. You're following the mandate, right? Why is it a cult when the top 1%, who you admire all of these people, the Tony Robbins, the Wayne Dyer, the Deepak Chopras, the Oprahs, the Ellens, us, you admire us. But when we show you exactly what it is that we've done, it's become a cult. I think it's hilarious.
And that's just
your way of thinking.
I was going to say, that's just the way of thinking, right?
Yep.
That's so funny. It's so funny.
But realistically, your job is a cult.
Yeah.
Because they suck you in and you show up every day and you spend a third of your time there doing your job, and they pay you a little bit to keep you there, to keep you comfortable, to keep you coming back. Now, don't get me wrong. There's people out there who love what they do. And that's exactly what you should do. Because when it's something that you love to do, it's not work. That's the thing. It's not work. So people are always like, oh, you're always working. This isn't work for me. This is what I love to do.
I was just going to say, Kevin O'Leary says it best. He says, a salary is something somebody gives you to forget about your dreams.
Yep.
A salary is the drug somebody gives you to forget about your dreams.
Yep.
Because a lot of people just go to work to make the money so they can live.
But they're not living.
Exactly.
They're just working or suffering worse.
And that's just a thought. That's another way of thinking. So just change it. Like, you can honestly do what you love to do in life and be successful at it. You just need to find the way to do it.
Anything. If you love to garden, that can create your wealth. If you like to make jewelry, that can create your wealth. Gary Vee did a challenge. I think it was on YouTube. I saw it on TikTok anyways. And I heard him talk about it on his podcast too. He did a challenge. He said, you want to make $5,000 this weekend? Go through your house, pick up some shit that you're not even using anymore and that you don't feel attached to, and sell it on eBay. He's like, I made $5,000 in a weekend. People will buy it. There's people out there who are looking for the shit that you have.
Yeah, exactly.
I can make $1,000 at a garage sale. Every time. Like, Donnie gets blown away. He's like, I can't believe you can make $1,000 at a garage sale. Yeah, because I'm not here to play small. I paid a lot of money for this shit. I took good care of it. I'm going to sell it. Books. Sell your books that you've read. People want that. They'll pay $10 versus $25 in the store. Right? Sell a couple of books. You can make a couple $100. There's always ways to make money. The question is, are you going to go out and fucking do it, or are you just going to sit on your ass and continue to complain?
That's the question.
People telling me that I'm lucky. Luck has nothing to do with it. Luck has nothing to do with it. It's the action that I do every single day. Did you know that 8 out of 10 people cry at work?
I used to.
Me too, in the bathroom. I remember I called in sick so much that they told me if I call in sick again, they were going to fire me. And then when I was really sick, I had to go to work. And then I ended up going to the hospital I had to go to the hospital because that's how sick I was. And they took me to the hospital. And then I was so sick, I couldn't even call in sick. I was like dying the next day.
It really is. It really is crazy that the thinking, like, stop for 2 seconds. If you're listening to this, wake up, like fully wake up right now and think about your thought process, because everything going on in your mind and every single thought you have right there in itself is showing you your future.
Yeah. And turn off the news.
Turn off everything except
turn off the news, turn off Facebook, turn off TikTok, turn off everything. Open a fucking book.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
It really is. And it's something we all have, and it's something we're all in charge of, and it's something we all create ourselves. Nobody else does. We do. You power your future. You power your thoughts. You are the power of you. So why are you letting other people's way of thinking control the way that you think? Why are you letting the way that you currently think be your belief in the way you always have to think that? You don't. You can change it whenever you want to. So if you're not happy with your results right now in your life, and you can probably stop right now and see with what you're doing right now and the thoughts you're having right now, how the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years of your life is going to be. But also stop for 2 seconds and think that if you change your thought to start opening your imagination, opening up your creative faculties in your mind, and think, what is it that I really want? And you start thinking that way, your life can change in a month. Your life can change in 2 days when you think the things you want, because it makes, like Sarah was talking at the beginning of this podcast, when you do something you love, you do things that make you feel good. And when you're thinking about the things that make you feel good, you're raising your vibration. When you listen to music and you love music, you feel good, you're dancing, your vibe is high. And when you do that, you're going to start to attract the things to you that you need. That's how simple it is. And it all starts with a thought.
Yep.
It all starts with the way you think.
And there's no cost to that.
No. You can do it right now. You can literally pause this podcast right now and start doing that. Today.
Today, I choose to think positive. And when a negative thought comes in your mind, because they will, because you'll be surrounded by Linda and Karen and Felicia and all those other people, right? When it comes into your mind, create a mantra. So my mantra, whenever a negative thought pops in, because yes, it happens. It's the law of polarity. There's always a positive and a negative, right? So it's, do you entertain the negative? But you need the positive and negative to use a battery, right? A battery to flood a room with a flashlight. But create a mantra. So mine is, I possess the qualities to be extremely successful. So anytime a negative thought comes in, I immediately change it to that. I don't entertain that idea. Gabby Burns says, thank that thought for showing you what it is that you don't want, and replace it with a thought of what you do want. Nobody can hear what you're thinking, so it doesn't matter if it sounds ridiculous to you. It's just for you.
That's powerful in itself, right? Mm-hmm. And the more you practice this, and the more you only entertain the positive thoughts, and the more you practice thinking positively, you're going to recognize and be aware of the negative so quickly that, like Sarah just said, you're not even going to entertain it. You're just going to say, thank you for showing me what I don't want. It just affirmed what I do want, and I'm moving on.
Exactly.
That's how easy it is.
It works for us.
Yeah.
We're no different.
It's honestly so simple, zero cost in doing it, and it can change your life so quickly when you change that thought.
Yeah.
Try it.
Awesome. Well, Kelly, we'll see you Thursday.
See you Thursday, and gonna challenge you guys to go out and do that. Start today. Just pick one thing to think differently about and do it.
And if you guys know anybody who could benefit from this podcast, please make sure you share it or tag them below on YouTube.
Sounds great. Have a great week, and we'll see you Thursday.